Good day, everyone. Welcome to Fit into the Cloud, a video podcast series brought to you by AVM Cloud, the cloud for the enterprise. My name is Srinivas. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for AVM Cloud. For people who do not know what AVM Cloud is, AVM Cloud is one of Malaysia's leading cloud computing providers, leveraging VMware's various cloud and virtualization solutions among its various strategic partnerships. A homegrown brand that was founded by Malaysian entrepreneurs, AVM Cloud prides itself by being a leader in every technology cycle since its establishment. AVM Cloud shares VMware's value proposition of empowering customers to become more resilient and adaptable by enabling a digital foundation that delivers any app on any cloud to any device. We are no different. So, when it comes to cloud journey, we are not speaking just about few components. We are speaking about a lot of network components, a lot of security conversations, but let's not leave behind data. And data is one of the centerpieces for any customer to get on a cloud journey. As much as data is important, its protection gives utmost care and importance from the technology fraternity. And we are no different in that space. So we proudly today present to you our strategic technology partnership with Veeam, who is our data protection partners. And I'm very proud, honored, and fortunate to have with us my good old friend and a professional network connect for a few years, Raymond, with us from Veeam.
Hi, Srini. Nice
Hey,
to be here.
Raymond.
Really excited. Yep, I lead the system engineering team for Veeam Software in Asia and Japan, part of the APJ theater. Yep, thanks for having me, Srini.
Oh, that's a pleasure, Raymond. Thank you so much for being with us. It's going to be great to connect back with you. Over the past years, we have discussed so much about data and its protection, and today with the advent of cloud and its transformation towards digital technologies and everything, how data becomes a centerpiece for any customer's cloud journey, right? So it'll be great for us to have this conversation as we go into how digital transformation is really changing, right? I think this is where I would like to pick your brains on a few things, but let me just kickstart with what we see from AVM Cloud as digital transformation, right? I think this is something that a lot of organizations and customers will echo along with us, which is about the changes that are coming in with digital transformation is more from an operational value in terms of delivering the value to the customers and its own businesses, and it also changes the culture for an organization. Now, that also brings to the question, is the market really seeing that, Raymond? Right? And we've kind of, I'm very happy to bring in some kind of statistics to this, where our APAC CEOs, right, they're focusing a lot on digital IT infrastructure that supports resilient operations and a lot of advanced technologies that they want to bring in, but also they are focusing on newer capabilities, advanced technologies like AI, ML, and so many other things that will bring in digital innovation. Now, what we also understand is 21% of these organizations, you know, uh, define the digital economy as one of their key areas or roles to play in digital transformation. Right now, as we all know, we kind of have accepted it. 2020 has been a year of challenges, and we all know how tough it has been. Very few economic growth aspects, and how many organizations have kind of adopted to cloud usage. We know a majority of the organizations have moved towards the cloud. But I also understand how important data is becoming for these organizations. We have understood that, we kind of have a statistic to that. It says 58% of data cannot be recovered. So data protection is really, it's a struggling area to keep up with the acceleration of these modern technologies. Now, this is where, I think it will be great to have your insights as we go along, right? Now, what we know is, along with COVID-19, there are a lot of changes to the landscapes, right? Now, I want to pick your brains on this, really, Raymond. Where do you see what is coming in from data protection? Is all about data protection alone, or is data protection changing that landscape?
So, Srini, it caught my attention when you mentioned the mandates by the CEO, right? When he spoke about digital transformation, whereby they need to build a couple of keywords that I look at over there, right? From a digital infrastructure perspective, they need to build a resilient operations. And new customers requirements are coming in, personalized customers requirement, as well as developing new capabilities. I think these three key things is really important, which we see a similar context in our world, or I should say in a highly data-driven world that we are all in building that resilient business. You can call it the resilient business, or you can call it digital resilience, has a lot to do with your capabilities of managing your data, which includes protection that you mentioned earlier on, right? And I'll just keep it at a high level right now, setting some criteria or benchmark on how you can achieve, I'll call it the data resilient business, right? Including that data right at the front over there. So that measurement or that objective, I'll put it as a triple A objective or triple A measurement. Firstly, you need to have data agility. Second, data availability that drives your business acceleration. So that triple A standard, I'll put it that way, is agility, availability, and acceleration. So setting that goal, right, that you have for your organization to reach that high level of data resiliency, right? And going to slight details of substantiating what I mentioned, how you can achieve that triple A goal, right? So the intricacies of things will be, let's take a look. You mentioned the pandemic period last year, right? And then we do see a lot of challenges. All of us see the challenges, and we do hear from an organization there are a couple of key challenges that they have feedback to us. The first challenge or the first need that they typically mention is the need to cope. We are all aware of the economic uncertainty that's going on since last year, and then moving on to this year, and then it will still go on probably next year, and we hope that we'll recover soon, right? So the need to cope, the challenge to cope with the dynamic change of customer needs. That's also one of the mandate, right? The customer needs has changed. Organization need to adjust or adapt themselves to providing new offerings, new services in a weekly or bi-weekly basis instead of half yearly you have new services. And that's just not it, right? You need to deliver the services right to the doorstep of your customers, reaching it in region, reaching it in country, or even globally. A lot of
Right.
organizations has the challenge of coping with that. And the second
Right.
one, you did mention correctly on the need, the skill sets, the need to learn. So uh, the skill sets that the IT right now are not able to cope with the new initiative that's driving that customer changes needs that's required. So the skill sets is a key important aspects of things. I know that since beginning of last year to this year, a lot of training has been done. I think that's one of the best initiatives, but there's still
Right.
lacking of training for the IT guys to support your new initiative, at the same time to optimize and maintain ongoing of this initiative that will drive your digital resiliencies or data resiliencies. And then last but not least, the need recovery. You hit the nail, head of the nail over there when you're talking about recovery, right? I just want to bring back, not to strike fear over there. We know that cyber threat has always been ongoing, even before the pandemic period. But a point to note is that during last year, there's increase of cyber threat, ransomware, malware.
Oh, yes. Oh,
So
yes.
to make sure that your data is protected is of crucial importance. So the
Definitely.
ability to recover from ransomware without paying the ransom is crucial for your business to survive and to meet that data resilience measures that I've mentioned earlier on, the triple A data resilient measures. Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's a very catchy phrase of triple A's, right? I mean, agility, availability, acceleration. And, this is kind of something that we have observed over the past year or so, where organizations are just not looking at going into a digital transformed method by just bringing in technologies. There are so many technologies which are top trending, speak about analytics, speak about cloud native applications, speak about all the advert of so many different technologies that have come in. And organizations, actually, if you ask me, are probably overwhelmed with all of these coming in. Now, this also has brought the focus back. I mean, security was always the focus for most of the organizations, but the focus has kind of streamlined a lot more. and the focus is a lot more, achievable focus today. It's not about conversations. It's not about talks in the air anymore. It's about doing it, executing it. And that's where, I do see why organizations are looking at some trusted partners to do this with, right? A trusted cloud service provider, a trusted service provider, not necessarily cloud. Not everything is achievable through only cloud as a method. There is a more focus on multi-hybrid cloud methodologies. Now, all of these, we like it or not, revolves around data, right? I mean, that's the centerpiece. Data is wealth. I mean, we all know that. But the organization's focus also has become so data centric today. The key word about it being data centric, the focus on data has increased so much that now it's not just about protecting the data, it's not just about recovering the data. It's also about having the visibility of where your data is, right? Now, that's where I see data protection, I guess, is no more just data protection. It's just not about, putting a backup in place, having an offsite backup. There's no more conversations of only that, right? Especially with, many more top technologies coming in, like mobile platforms and agile software development and all that. So harnessing the data for those insights and outcomes have become even so important, right? Now, I would like to get this conversation more into a multi-cloud strategy and how Veeam is seeing their customers going on a multi-cloud strategy, and how is Veeam's technologies helping not just customers, cloud service providers like us, whom the customers should trust. Because we believe, and that is the reason we have this great partnership with Veeam that we work on, because we know for a fact that you all just don't focus on protecting data for the sake of protecting a disk, a file, a folder. It's not about that. It's about the essence of data. You all don't lose visibility of the data. How do you all see your other customers out there in the region? Because this is more Malaysia centric, what I'm speaking about, right? I know the other markets are probably a little more mature, but I see Malaysia catching up really quick, right? And we want to see, are we on the right track as what we are seeing with their other customers in the region?
So, Srini, to me, after saying all those objectives that you need to meet, as well as the challenges, right? And I think both of us, or the world out there, I'm not just speaking of Malaysia, but the whole region out there knows that, or I'll put it from my own personal view first, to say that cloud is more than the norm right now. So cloud is, to me, cloud first strategy is obsolete. I'll boldly say that it's a cloud mass strategy. Everyone needs to think about how they can move their workloads into the cloud first, and even getting less dependent on the legacy system. I know that this is a notion that's not easy to be performed and executed, but you just have to think about moving your legacy workloads, or even developing new workloads that can replace the legacy workloads from a cloud-friendly perspective. It's still a world, as you mentioned, Srini, it's a multi-cloud strategy. You will still have the on-prem cloud, you will still have the hyperscaler cloud, you still have the managed cloud that AVM is doing, right? So if organizations are concerned about hyperscalers, whereby data privacy or security aspects, you can always engage managed service provider like AVM to help you do right? And at the same time, I'd just like to add on the skill sets that I mentioned earlier on, right? So it's a very key aspects whereby organizations tend to have an oversight. They move very fast into, they know that I need the new initiative because the competitors are doing that. The skill sets is some issues which might take a long while, right? As mentioned, you take 1 year of training and you're still not getting there. What else can you do, right? You can have, there are expertise out there. Example, AVM, right? You do have the expertise, you do have the qualified technical engineers to help organization get into that required skill sets for your digital resiliency, right? And from a statistics standpoint, I don't put it like a high level discussion, right? From a statistics standpoint, in our latest data protection report, we see that, especially since last year to coming to this year, we see that 96% of the organization accelerated their cloud usage. It means more than 9 out of 10. I'm not too sure how to put that into numbers, but it's more than 9 out of 10 organizations expedite their cloud usage, whether be it putting their archive data into the cloud or workloads into the cloud. That's the reason why, pardon me for being naggy, a cloud master strategy has to be in place. And on the statistics itself, right? Again, there are 7 times rise in the ransomware attacks. I just can't get the
Right.
security out of my mind. Even though that the cloud aspects, the new initiative has to come in, but the cyber threat and the security always have to be overarching, or always have to be. You always have to embrace that ransomware is not going to go away. We have to live with that. It's just how you can build that. Generally, it's called a zero trust strategy towards ransomware, and
Right.
backup systems can also be one of the key criteria of helping you to take away that ransomware threat, if I can put it that way, right? So, Srini, as you mentioned, right, in our world where we protect data, is not the traditional world of protecting data on-prem and
Right.
just restoring the data, right? Now the
Right.
data that we're protecting is all over the place, right? We call it
Right.
a data sprawl. It can be
Correct.
in your hyperscaler cloud. It can be
Definitely.
if it's in the hands of a
Right.
managed service provider like AVM, that will be easy. I just
Right.
demand you tell me 5 minutes of recovery if I lost 10 terabytes of data. You have to oblige, or not just oblige, right? You have to keep to the SLA. So that's the easy
Correct.
part, getting you guys to do it. At the same time, managing this data on-prem. Yeah, you can't leave. I would love to leave everything to my managed service provider, but the control and ownership and the privacy and the security of this data still falls back within the organization. You knows your data the best.
Correct.
You manage your
Correct.
data. You can leverage on the skill sets, but ownership of the data still have to be yours. Yep.
Correct.
Especially so
Correct.
for the shared model responsibility of even if your
Right.
data AWS
Right.
or Azure, right? You still have
Right.
to manage your data yourself. Yeah.
Right. I was just about to speak about the shared responsibility model, and you just kind of helped me to get into that conversation, right? Uh, there's a very, weird notion. I'm sorry for the word, but there is a very weird notion that once you put things on the cloud, my hands are off it. To be honest, no. We all share equal responsibility when you put things on the cloud, right? We, as a managed cloud provider, obviously, we do have the master services competency, which comes with being a VMware partner connect principle, which means we have the deepest expertise. That is why we have given that kind of a status, right? But this also comes with support of principal vendors like VMware, yourself, and a lot of other technology partners for us to build this expertise. The expertise is more around the technology area, how to use it, what is the right method to use it, but doesn't mean a customer who puts their workloads on a cloud is not aware of what their responsibility is. It's very important to keep that communication going with the customer about why shared responsibility model is important. Now that brings me into a very key statistic from Malaysia's standpoint, right? And this is pretty interesting for us. We see that 52% of the Malaysian organizations are turning towards external service providers to help them fast track their digital journey. Now, that's a key aspect. We know when you said, there are managed service providers like AVM who can help customers. Now, it is a fact. A lot of organizations are turning towards, these kind of external service providers like us to help them on their journey. But at the same time, right, they are just not looking at one cloud approach. They're seeking help from these trusted service providers to look for a multiple or a hybrid cloud environment to manage their workloads, their storage, their backup, amongst many other things, right? Amongst so many other things. Now, you touched on the important aspect of skill set a couple of times in this conversation already. I know how important that is, especially with the changing landscape of technology. Look at us, for example, a few years ago when we both met, we were speaking about basic virtualization layers, we were speaking about snapshot-based backups and all of that. And today we are speaking about enterprise data in a different aspect altogether, right? And it is constant learning. It's not about getting trained. Training is one part, certification is one part. To have the exposure for customers and their personnel who are managing their systems, application, business services, everyone to come together to experience it. It's more about experiencing the technologies and relearning the skills over a period of time. And there was a point when you probably would do one certification in a year, right? And then you'd be happy with it. But now, especially over the past 1 year plus, you might have noticed so many of our own people have gone behind certifications so soon and so quickly. They are moving from an associate to an architect to a professional architect, and so many other things that are happening at the time. So skill set is definitely being, one of the important areas of, importance given by organizations, and likewise by service providers, by principal vendors like KL, right? Now, I want to focus a little more on the enterprise data. How are really organizations using this enterprise data? What are the current approaches of use of enterprise data? Because that kind of helps me to lead you into a conversation of, are you just looking at data as data? Or I'm sure y'all are looking at enterprise data in the same aspect that customers are looking at today, right? The use of enterprise data today that we see is 38% of the organizations are looking to collect and analyze these customer data for spending trends and loads of other new digital initiatives that they want to bring in. And they also use 30% of this data to optimize their own internal delivery mechanisms, right? And obviously, they use the data to improve customer service. That's utmost importance, customer experience, the trends, and bringing out the latest of technologies. There are a lot of areas that they're using enterprise data for. Now, this is where I want to put you on the spot and help us with an understanding of, are we looking at data as pure virtual disks? Are we looking at data as pure files from a file backup level point of view? Or how is the data journey transformed completely? We speak about digital transformation, we speak about cloud transformations, we speak about so many things, but data itself over the past few years has transformed. And that is the reason I do know for a fact that Veeam is investing heavily in terms of how to look at data, not just from a protection point of view. The point that I was telling earlier, right? It's no more just protection. So let me put you on the spot. It's very interesting to hear it from you, because I know you have seen the market inside out with across the region with your role. So it kind of gives us a feeling whether we are also heading in the right direction. Are we telling the customers the right things or not?
Thanks, Srini. I love this spotlight. I mean, this is the forte of what Veeam is doing, right? But I do hear your, it's fond memories that we work on the old days of just on-prem virtualization data, and then easier to get data recovered and so on, right? We've now data that's spreading across, right? I have this burning desire. Just take a step back before I go into progressing towards that what we call modern data protection journey. In our stats, my recommendation right now is organization needs to do a reality check in their environment. What do I mean by reality check? A reality check of a term that we coin, and we call it availability gap. We hear organization even now, or in our stats that we found out, the latest report that we have, 8 out of 10 organization has this availability gap, which means to say when their system is down, and their expectation is this system has to be up in 5 minutes. But in actual fact, the system is up only in 2 hours or more. That is an availability gap. And 8 out of 10 has that availability gap. And that is alarming. Okay. And at the same time, again, back to the basic, right? When there's availability gap, what does it relate to, right? It relates to your recovery capabilities, right? Everyone knows that we need to protect our data, but recovery is the key point, right? And on that reality check, we also find that 58% of the 3,000 respondents that we have in the report are not able to recover their data. In actual fact, so it's more than half, right? More than half are not able to recover. And the recovery, if you break it down, the 58% of organizations who failed to recover, in actual fact, out of that 58%, two factors comes into the picture. One of it is that your backup is failing. 37% of a backup is failing. 1/3 of a backup job is failing. So I can't agree to that, because we monitor our backup every day, right? Years back when we worked together in Srini, there are backup jobs that's always being monitored on every single day. And the next morning, we need to audit that the backups are all successful. Imagine that 1/3 of the backup jobs that fails, and you clearly know that you will not be able to recover because it fails. And the second component is, out of the successful backup jobs that you have, which is close to 60 plus to 70% of them, they are wanted of it that cannot be restored. So imagine even your successful backup can't be restored. And that
Right.
contributes into the overall more than 50% of failure of recovery, right? So do a reality check right now on what your data protection system is capable of
Correct.
and improve that. I would say 100% of the organization, unless you're already into the journey of modern data protection. If
Right.
not, you will need to do something right now. In
Absolutely.
addition to the new initiative that's coming, right? So
Right.
IT guys has a lot of pressure right now with the distributed workforce, not
Correct.
centralized anymore. New
Yes.
initiative. At the same time, the data protection has to be in place, right? And
Correct.
to your question on how should that future look like when it comes to data, I shouldn't say future. Now you have to act upon it, or probably since last year you got to act upon it, right? So that journey of your modern data protection goes into, firstly, you need to be able to protect the data. I've been talking about it. Three phases that I'll recommend over here. Protection of the data. Protection of the data without the availability gap, reality check that you're able to meet the demand of your users, able to automate the data recovery, able to test the recovery. The second step into this modern data protection journey is managing your data only with the capabilities of protecting your data, knowing that 100% your data will be recovered. Then you go into the management of the data. It makes sense, right? From there, you'll be able to profile your data. You'll be able to know which data is more important than the others. And you build in the SLA, right? Some data you need to recover by 5 minutes, some data 30 minutes, some data an hour. Let's be reasonable. Not all data are built equal. Not all
Right.
data needs to be recovered within less than 5 minutes, right? So build that
Definitely.
management of data. At the same
Right.
time, it's not just recovery, right? It's also on the data security aspects, the compliance aspect. Data sovereignty or data should not be residing outside of the country. Backup data is that way too, right? We know that you have put it offsite. Are you putting offsite locally, or are you putting offsite to another geographical location, another country, right? So that managed data is really important. Once you're able to get the monitoring and management aspects of your data in, the third step, which is where we are leading to, the digital transformation journey, right? If you're able to go into the third phase of this modern data protection journey, you're on your way to the digital transformation journey,
That's
unleashing your
amazing.
data.
Correct.
Using your data has to be portable. Using your data has to move around. As mentioned, the data is portable and flexible enough, or what you call mobility, to move across the cloud, across the managed service provider. At the same time, it helps you have a faster development, helps you have new services into the market, improve your customers' intimacy, the stickiness to the customers. At the same time, use the backup data and leverage it a lot more actively, more than just recovery. You can even
Right.
build a AI. You can even build a data analytics or machine learning into your backup data and try to get
Right.
business insight from the backup data in addition to your production data. So Srini,
Correct.
I know it's a long stretch of answer that I'm giving over here, but I'm just too excited to, as you said, I love this spotlight because this is what we are doing, and we hope we can
Absolutely.
help our customers, both of us, all of us hope we can help our customers move into the protect, manage, and unleash journey so that they can so that we can enable or expedite their digital transformation experience. Yeah.
Right. On that note, a disclaimer to our viewers, right? When Raymond was mentioning about 58% of the organizations are not able to recover data, it was not to scare. It is a reality. It is a fact. And especially Raymond, when you moved that conversation of how much is not able to be recovered into how it should be done, and where Veeam is looking at it from three specific areas, right? Which is about protecting, managing, and then unleashing your data, which is the right thing, right? Today, if you look at restoration capabilities, no system, no organization will say my application or my service is available only during business hours. Gone are those days. Everything is 24/7, which means any kind of loss of application service or data, the recovery also is as crucial, right? Now, that is the reason the protection part has always been there. We have been doing, numerous number of things to protect data, right? From even from a small database instance level backup to everything that we could think of has been protected for the most, I think for decades now. But the problem has always been, how do you manage that protection? How do you pull that into a recoverable state? And once you pull that data, how do you unleash that data for better use, right? You kind of, got me excited in where we are heading from AVM Cloud using Veeam, right? Because that's exactly what we are telling our customers. You don't have to fret about it. You don't have to worry about it. We use the latest of technologies, especially with this kind of thought process that comes from our principal vendors. We use the same stuff, right? So when we do use that, we are actually taking off that kind of a headache from y'all. We are moving y'all towards unleashing capability already, because we are helping you protect it. We are helping you manage it. Obviously, there is a bit of shared responsibility model in the managed part, because you need to help us to manage it better. But what is the outcome? Y'all are the bearers of the fruit of unleashing that data for better use. And that is an amazing way of looking at it. Now, this gets me to the point, right? Where you said, the future state, and then you held back and said, not future. I think it's immediate or now, probably, for the past 1 year. I kind of want to, stay on that part and ask you, with every month passing by, or every quarter passing by, with every half year passing by, with the amount of changes that are coming in, or the requirements that an organization, a customer is looking at, that means vehicles like y'all, who are technology innovators, have to move much faster, right? Now, where is Veeam heading towards that? I mean, we know Veeam has always had great roadmaps. They've been the first ones to come out there and do a lot of, innovation. And obviously, your partnership with VMware, and it's kind of a triangular, love triangle here, right? Because AVM is powered by VMware, and you all have great partnerships with VMware, and that kind of helps us in a good technology landscape for our customers to view it, right? We want to be that cloud provider who wants to tell the customer we use the best. And when we use the best, it comes with a lot of futuristic thought process. And we have that ready, right? So where is Veeam looking at it? What is the roadmap? I'm not going to say future and put a full stop to it, because as much as future is the next step, it has got a few dots to it, and say the future always keeps growing, right? So I know Veeam is growing tremendously. We have seen the kind of growth over the past 1 year, that you all have embarked into certain spaces where there was a time when we were thinking, it might be tough to get into those areas during our past year's conversations, especially, right? Now, where do you see that? Where do you see Veeam going next? What is in it? I mean, especially with new cloud technologies, new apps, new advancements in development, and all of this. How do you group that together and position data protection in a different way?
Srini, that's a great question. Like I think all Veeam, or all of us knows that we can't build this forward-looking technology alone. We need
Right.
alliances to work together.
Right.
Alliances, as you mentioned, from if you like to call us vendors, or we're just developers of solution stacks, as well as service providers that you guys that provides a lot more than just services, right? Integrating, orchestrating, your expertise in managing it, or even providing consulting help to the customers out there, right? As well as customers is the core piece too, right? Into this overall picture, right? So in Veeam, we have to transform too. In actual fact, we've been doing really well over the last 12 to 13 years on the virtualization platform, and we can't rest our laurels into the virtualization success that we're doing, right? So we transform into what we call it Act Two, where the market is moving, right? Or where the customer sentiments is moving, the hybrid cloud environment, the multi-cloud environment that you spoke about, right? We call it Act Two over here. And with this rise of the cloud, we built a platform. We've been building this platform we believe that it's no longer just solution selling. It has to be a platform of solution. And now drawing slightly further into this platform that we have been building for the last 2 years, it has reached certain level of maturity from the perspective of building from our strength of virtualization platform, where we provide the best data protection tools, and extending that into the monitoring and analytics aspects, building from that data protection that we have, disaster recovery, as well as orchestration and automation aspects. We all know that if you move into the cloud environment, you need to have the automation, you need to have the orchestration over there. And then And then again, I know this can be quite a daunting task for customers who doesn't have that resources or doesn't have the skill sets to do this. Obviously, service provider will be able to help. There are skill sets out there you can leverage on. And then there's this part about unleashing the data. In our platform, we build upon what we call data reuse. Data reuse, right? Kind of recycling, right? Going green, right? Not going to that aspect, but data reuse means that you're using your backup data for better purposes more than just recovery, right? As mentioned earlier on, data analytics to come into the backup data to build business insight and so on, right? So all this data and the latest trend, I'll just probably pick on this latest trend, which is my favorite too, the world of the containers, right? So we acquired a company called Custom, and Custom is purpose built for Kubernetes platform.
Wow.
All right. Okay. So Veeam has always been in that approach or the DNA of having the best of breed solution. We have the best of breed solution for virtualization, and moving into the Act 2, you want to have the best of breed of solutions that's in AWS, that's in Azure, that's in Google Cloud, using their native snapshots as well as combining with our export or backup capabilities to pull out all the workloads in your AWS, in your Azure, in your Google Cloud. At the same time now, if you're on Kubernetes, data in your Kubernetes world into a central platform repository. And this central platform repository is a API-driven platform. So every one of us knows that development site or application development goes very aligned with API-first approach, right? So we built a application or the API that extend our platform to the rest of the vendors, to the public cloud providers, to partners like AVM and so on. So that help us scale the platform at a faster pace. The platform has to be built. It's no longer the days whereby I can build a solution and I have updates every 1 or 2 years. Look at containers. Every 2 weeks, they have a new release. So the development cycles is so fast nowadays. As mentioned right at the start, right? Customer demand is also really fast. I want new offerings. I want new services every 2 weeks. Are you able to cater to that? So this platform is also built into that dynamic changes that's required and scale faster with the help of our alliances partner, which includes service provider partners over there. So that is what we have been doing. That is what we are focusing on, and you'll be focusing on that in the coming next 2 to 3 years. And that's a trend which you see customers, the trend of what customer needs, the trend of what customers requires to meet that forward digital transformation journey.
Right. And as much as it excites me, I think it should excite our customers as well, because normally AVM Cloud is looked at as a pure infrastructure services organization or cloud providing organization of infrastructure services alone. And we are not just that. We are venturing into data analytics. We are venturing into container as a service and stuff like that. And this is exactly where our partnership with a data protection vendor like y'all, it aligns into the strategies that y'all have. Your focus on cloud native, your focus on container mechanisms. How do we make protection of containers much easier rather than having to write a piece of code in every container file or every particular YAML file or a Helm chart? Instead of that, how do we make an API call to make these protection of container mechanisms also much easier and consumable? And this kind of excites us because we are on the right track, and we see that your Veeam's strategy and vision towards advancements in the technology kind of aligns into what we're thinking of doing. Now, this has been fun. This has been really fun, Raymond. I mean, I would love to go on.
Sorry to cut you there. I really have this burning desire when you mentioned about the collaboration, right? And I'm quite into this alphabet strategy, right? I talk about that 3 A's. Agility, availability, and acceleration, right? I'll probably sum this up with a 4 C's next step.
Wow. Right? Okay. So you've got from 3 A's to 4 C's, yeah?
Exactly. So the 4 C's to help you meet that 3 A's, right? The triple A standards kind of approach into your data resiliency, right? So this 4 C's definitely has the workings between Veeam as well as the alliances as well as AVM. The first C is to cloud. Cloud is the first C. Draw on the cloud to deliver a flexible and reliable data availability platform that you have, which includes backup and recovery that we have been talking about. map into that growth of your business. I mentioned earlier on the business acceleration piece. The second C will be enhancing the capabilities. We talk about the capabilities, right? The skill set that's required, right? So capabilities in the business, not just within the skill sets, but towards how you can get more. For example, the data reuse, right? More data insight using new technologies out there that can be deployed with the right expertise to increase your organization capabilities. The third C's will be culture. Srini, you spoke about culture right at the start, right? So create a culture that is adaptable and open to new technologies. That's really important. When I mention a cloud mass strategy, you need to have the open mindset. Organization need to have the open mindset to adopt new technology, to believe that your data, even not within your on premises but out there, is well managed or even a lot more secure. It's within your own control, but you still own your data in that aspects. And last but not least, foster a sense of confidence. The fourth C, confidence in the business digital journey that you have, built on very strong data foundation. Again, we are in the data driven world, right? So the four C's: cloud, capabilities, culture, and confidence. There you go, Srini.
You just ended it with the most confidence boosting statement there. The 3 A's and the 4 C's is something that I will not forget in a hurry. And I'm sure we can take this back to our viewers also and tell them, right? It is about focus on changing culture. It is about having the confidence to bring in the change. It's about building the capability. And it is about getting on the bandwagon of cloud the right way. Not everything is cloud, but the right way. But do it with agility, do it with availability on your mind, and accelerate yourself to go towards it. I think I kind of reversed that for you and put it in the right possible way.
It's
You
really,
know,
I go on like 15, 20 minutes talking about all this, and you just summarize it so well within that 1 minute, right? So, yep, yep, definitely that's what I'm driving to.
that's exactly what Veeam does with AVM Cloud. You help us to transform all of those great things that you all put in so many years of research and development into, and we use that and serve it to our customers in real quick time. So, on that note, this has been an amazing conversation, Raymond. Obviously, this again Fit into the Cloud, the podcast series that we are bringing up, was not about speaking about the portfolio of products or services that we offer as AVM Cloud. It is for our customers and the market to know that we work with the best in technology business. We work with our strategic partners like y'all, and how well we work with them. What are y'all doing in your market? What are y'all doing in your space? And how does that collaborative effort, can be consumed by our customers? That's exactly what this series was all about. Again, Raymond, thank you so much for your time. It's been my pleasure, my honor, and in fact, AVM is very happy to be and glad to be partnering with Veeam. And thank you so much for your time. It was great talking to you. Any last words
Likewise,
before
right?
we
Thanks.
kind of head off?
Likewise, thanks, Srini, and thanks to the AVM Cloud for giving us this platform and the opportunity to talk about our solution and now combine joint efforts solution together, right? So I hope this is really useful for the audience out there, and looking forward to the second session if I'm invited for another AVM
Oh, definitely,
podcast.
definitely. This is just
Yeah,
the
thanks so
beginning of
much,
a lot
Srini.
of
Thanks.
series.
Yeah.
Thanks, Raymond. This is just a beginning of a lot of the series that are coming up and episodes that would be coming up. To our viewers, thank you so much for tuning into us and listening to us. Do keep looking out for the space for more such collaborative podcast series that are coming up with different technology strategic partnerships that we have with different, principal vendors of ours, and we will keep coming up with more material to give you all insights into market trends, into technology trends, and how best y'all can use it. This is not the end of it. This is just the beginning of fitting into the cloud. Thank you so much once again.